See, we're true pros here, man.
Yeah, nothing but the best.
Wow, that smooth, silky jazz voice too. It's amazing.
On FR 93, the Blues Channel.
So I guess technically we're on a truce right now.
Yeah.
Temporarily. We just have to. Yeah, we just have to say that for legal purposes. But I wanted to talk to you about a lot of different things. Actually, I haven't had you on in years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But first and foremost, I want to talk to you about Twisted Metal and about playing Sweet Tooth. And we've discussed it a few times. I remember seeing you at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it was such a shit show. But I remember you telling me that you were going to start getting into doing more voiceover work.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, one thing has led to another, to where I had no idea just how much you've actually done in the video game world before Twisted Metal even became a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously like, it's not a huge, I mean, especially when I started, I mean, it wasn't like a big thing to be like a voiceover actor. I think now it's kind of gaining more traction as,
right,
you know, people kind of have their favorite characters that they grew up listening to. But yeah, man, it was funny. I did voiceovers for wrestling games, and just based off of that, you know, the guy said, you know, so you get that voice, man, you know, you should probably do this. And this was a guy from Midway back when that was a company. And
so you're talking about when we had to come in and read lines for our own character.
Yeah. And this was actually like even pre-WWE. This is like the TNA days.
Okay, wow, right.
And then from there, I think I got like the Game of Thrones game, and I did like a character in that, which was pretty cool because real interactive, kind of part of the universe and stuff. And then coming in doing the WWE games, and it was just kind of like word of mouth through those kind of avenues that guys were like, oh, he's pretty good, and he's got like a good range of stuff he can do. And then you know, from there was Suicide Squad for you know, the DC game, and it just kind of steamrolled from there. So yeah, it's still going. You know, I still got a couple projects in the pipe here that are coming up soon. So
talk about how
it's a fun thing.
Talk about doing the voiceovers, especially for video games. I know even when we had to do it for our own characters, you have to, you know, do it 3 or 4 times. But it's me. I'm just saying myself. When you're doing voiceovers for another character, what's kind of the secret to that?
I think the biggest thing is, you know, and I think you can understand this better than anybody, is like, you know, if you really want to get into a character, I mean, you have to do just that. You know, you have to really kind of get into that headspace and kind of embody it when you're in there. So it's like when I'm in the booth, it's funny, like if there was a camera on me, sometimes you'd be like, it's ridiculous looking, because I'm like, you know, especially when it's like very big dramatic things or very physical things, you know, I'm very animated in there. And that's just really the gist of it, man. It's just if you can lose yourself in the character in the moment, especially if you're in a booth and, you know, it's just you and a sound engineer, then you know, it usually makes for a pretty good performance and a lot of fun.
I know when I do voiceovers for Darkside, I'm really doing like very much enunciating every word, because you have to, you know.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds pretty slick, dude. Yeah, you know, a little, David Attenborough going on there. You know?
So let's talk
about what will the good brother do next?
Then suddenly there was a lot of controversy. Talk about the Twisted Metal character, because obviously Sweet Tooth is a very big part of this franchise, and you're getting ready for season 2 to release. But it's very intricate, just the whole story behind it and what you're doing on screen. But kind of how did that start coming up, where you were getting a chance to do this role?
I literally got just a call out of blue from a good buddy that I hadn't talked to in probably years. You know, he had been kind of on his journey in Hollywood, and lo and behold, he called me back, and he's running at Sony. It's a guy named Carter Swan, and he just goes, "Hey, man." Yeah, I think you met Carter a few times. Good dude.
I did. Yeah,
really good dude, and like really, I mean, he's really keen on like understanding video game brands and like what fans want from him and stuff. And I know he's involved with The Last of Us and a lot of stuff. But anyways, he called me up. He's like, "Man, we have this character. Do you remember the PlayStation?" Of course I remember the PlayStation. He goes, "Do you remember Twisted Metal?" I go, "Of course, it came with the PlayStation. How can I not remember?" It's like, you know, do you remember Super Mario if you had a Nintendo? Yeah, you know, it's and he was like, yeah, well, remember the clown? I'm like, Sweet Tooth, yeah, he's the guy on the cover. It's like, he's like, that's what we want you to play it. I said, okay, cool. So shot me over a script, did a quick self-tape because it's still pandemic days.
Yeah.
And he called me back a couple hours later. He's like, yeah, you got the part, and be in New Orleans in 3 months, and off we go. And that was essentially it. You know, they told me from the get-go, you know, we're going to voice over the character with Will Arnett. Because you know, he was kind of the leader to bring, you know, get the show sold and off the ground, which I totally understand. And I was like, yeah, totally fine. But for me, I looked at it as an advantage because it's like my first acting gig. I get to work with these really amazing, you know, A-list actors who have, you know, who are great in their own right. And you know, I get to sit there and act with them day after day, take after take. And if I fuck it up, it's not that big a deal because somebody's going to cover for me on the back end at ADR. So for me, it kind of it made me really kind of loose and more free to kind of, you know, experiment more and just be real wild with the character. And you know, if anything, they would tell me to dial it down because, you know, if it was too much. But yeah, man, it just was a fun experience, and I learned a ton. I'm learning a ton every season, and it's a really fun set. The cast is really awesome, and it's an interesting process with all the stunts and all, you know, everything that goes into the special effects and all the craziness that is. It's been a learning experience coming from the wrestling world.
Well, let's go back to you talked about 18 high spots in 5 seconds there. Let's go back to Carter Swan, because Carter is a guy, like you mentioned, he's very wrestling friendly. He understands the business. He works a lot, like you mentioned, on video game, you know, adaptations, Last of Us, Twisted Metal. So you mean to tell me that he gave you the audition, or the read, and within hours later you got called back and told that you had the part?
Yeah, essentially. Which I was like, you know, you're waiting for the, you know, the 3-day or the week or the 2-weeker before you do. I mean, even most VO stuff I get, you know, you don't hear back for a few weeks, and they're like, all right. Yeah, well, we're gonna bring you in. And no, yeah, he hit me back right away. He's like, yeah, it's the tone we're looking for. It's what we're looking for. But for me too, like, I've played every Twisted Metal game. I know the character intimately. You know, I've seen the evolution of him. I know what, you know, fans expect. I knew what I wanted to expect from him.
But how did you audition for it? Because you mentioned, so for people that don't know, the Sweet Tooth, has a clown mask.
Yeah.
And in the series, Will Arnett is voicing over the character while you're acting it out. So how did you audition for that?
You go through the whole read with the part.
Okay.
And dude, if they ever find the audition tape, it's one of the most unintentionally hilarious things ever, because I had just got this at the last minute. I remember I was outside, like, putting something together, and you know, just Florida sun. You forget
using your blow dart.
Yeah. I had the blow gun out. I was taking care of some rodents around the house. It's a whole other story, trust me. But you know, stayed out in the sun a little bit too long and got like severely sunburned, like probably one of the worst sunburns I've had in quite a while. And then it's like an hour later, it's like, yeah, you need to get this tape to us by the end of the day. So it's me, like, shirtless, doing this monologue, you know, with the paper bag and beat red, dude. Like, you know, I mean, I look so comical and psychopathic just by the way I looked at it. They're probably like, this psychopath painted himself red. Like, what's going on? Like, so I mean, that may have had something to do with it.
So when you get the part, you knew right out of the gate that Will is going to be voicing it over. But playing this character, like, I actually just had Kane Hodder on for tomorrow's show, which is going to be Friday 13th. And we were talking about how hard it is to play a character with a mask and it's silent. And I mentioned Glenn Jacobs as Kane as being a great example of that. I've watched some of the show and watched some of your scenes, and you play it really well to where you almost forget that it's not your voice, but there's a lot of physicality, but it's not like over the top. You really kind of found a cool way to emote by not being able to talk and not being able to use your facial expressions either.
It's pro wrestling 101, dude. It's Liger. Like, that's the best way to put it. Like, you want to talk about a guy whose, like, face was always completely covered. You could see no detail whatsoever, but like, somehow, some way, he would communicate to, like, the top of the stadium how anguished he was feeling, how pumped up he was feeling, like, all that good stuff. It was that, like, it was just kind of like watching the mannerisms of how they communicated things, adapting it to what I do. I mean, it was a lot of straight up pro wrestling. I mean, I really wish I could be like, oh, I thought about every move. No, I watched him, you know, a little bit of Ray, you know, I mean, there's guys, especially the guys, like I said, Liger in particular, because, like, he completely covered. You get no eyes, no nothing, but still to be able to, like, convey as much emotion as he did in his matches and get across as much as he did. It was a really good, like, Rosetta Stone to kind of, like, figure out how to get stuff over.
Are you saying the lines as you're acting out the part?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I mean, here's the other thing too, is like I want to give the other actors like the best
Right.
environment for them to, and it's like if I'm there going line, 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 you know, it's like it sucks for everybody, dude. So yeah, no, and for me, like I said, it's like practice. It's free passes and I can't mess up. So you know, I take advantage of everyone.
It's actually kind of a dream role because, like you said, you don't have to like if you fuck up, someone's overdubbing it anyways. You get to wear a mask. So if you're like fucking hungover or something, you don't have to worry about it. You just show up.
And I'm not saying that did happen, but there was a few little cast parties that maybe went a little bit too long. And
like, hey, I feel bad for you guys. I just put a mask on.
and they knew it too. They were just, I mean, they would just stare at me sometimes in the break room, just be like, "You son of a bitch!" Like, you know.
Did you like? And this is one thing I love. I mean, I've done some fairly big productions. I just finished one myself, and you know, we come from a world where we're big name guys. Let's be honest, you know, but we're also very smart to know when you go into that world, you gotta earn your stripes. You know, you can't walk on there thinking that you're, you know, hot shit. It's a little intimidating, but it's also like you got to earn that respect. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah. Because for however sensitive we are about people coming into our industry and whatever, I mean, actors probably secretly, maybe not as much as in front, probably 10 times, you know, the other way. It's like, and I get it, you know, a lot of these, it's like you go into any field where somebody has dedicated their life to it, they're going to feel a certain way about it. And you got to respect that. And that's kind of how I approached it, man. It was just like, everybody I worked with is rolling the dice for their entire life on this career, on this thing. And I better respect it as much as they do. Otherwise, you know, how do I expect them to respect me? And, you know,
right. Sure.
You got to be there every day with them. So it's like, you know, you want to definitely establish that in any cast that you're working with, because it does make the day much easier, you know?
Yeah. Well, it really is a team effort, and that goes for not just the guys on camera, but behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. And, you know, hey, listen, always be cool to the crew, and like they'll take care of you in so many different ways. You know what I mean? They'll come through in a pinch, like, you know what I mean? Just say what's up, be cool, and then they'll take care of you.
Let's talk about some of the stunt work that you mentioned. I mean, it's a big budget production. Were you doing a lot of your own stunts?
Yeah, they like to keep me in the car. And a lot of it too is just, it's hard to find a stunt double for me, you know? Like,
yeah.
So and I get it. So they did their best. Brother came in. He did a hell of a job when he was in there. But yeah, so a lot of times, like whenever we're doing the driving scenes, whenever we're doing shots where they're panning in on the car and stuff, it's me in the truck, and we're rumbling down the road in a broke down crazy ice cream converted mail truck, I don't know, hybrid thing that they build out of like 5 different cars. It's crazy.
Because it's a post-apocalyptic world, and basically it's a driving game.
Yeah. Essentially, it's the world. You know, the world has come to an end. The great cities of the world have walled themselves up, and on the outside, it's lawless and it's crazy, and cars are mounted with weapons, and there's marauders trying to get you at every step of the way. And throughout the world, there's these psychopathic killers like Sweet Tooth who have staked out their territories and are making an impact on the crazy world that is Twisted Metal. So that's kind of the premise of the show. So it leaves a lot to it's really hard to go too over the top with it, because the world in and of itself is way over the top.
Is there any stunts that stand out for you, of ones that were harder than the others?
Just a lot. I mean, there's so much more car combat probably in this season than in last season. And a lot of like death race type scenes and stuff like that. And our drivers in our stunt team in general were really incredible. And like I said, being in that car and seeing some of that precision driving, that's really precision driving, and just kind of racing through checkpoints at 60 miles an hour, and just a hair's breadth away from the steel gate and stuff like that. But the guys nailed it every time. And I mean that it's trippy. It's like going on a roller coaster ride every third day when you're on set. So you just hope for the best.
Were you involved when they set your head on fire?
Oh yeah. We have a really cool effects team. They take care of everything. But the tech boys and all the special effects that go into that, it's a process, let me tell you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. Just I noticed you had to have your head bald, obviously.
Yeah. Which that's also fun too. shave off everything, keep it slick every day. Yeah, and I'm not much with the razor, but man, I've probably gigged up my head worse than I ever would in a hardcore wrestling career, just trying to keep it bald.
And it was a long shoot too. I remember you were gone for 4 or 5 months or so.
Yeah, it was 3 months up in Toronto. We did the first season in New Orleans, the second season in Toronto, and it was pretty cool, man. You know, I got to had a nice place next to Rogers Stadium. I made friends with the GM of the Blue Jays, and would head over to games and chill out and you know, watch a little Vladdy Guerrero and have a Sunday. So yeah, it was a fun time in Toronto.
How do you work out anything with Will as far as the voiceovers, or is it one of those things where you've never even met him?
We've met in passing a few times, but like we've had a few like our Zoom discussions where we kind of go over the character and what he's thinking, and you know, he has a tone for it, and I just try to match it. I mean, you know, and really it was just a bit of discussion in the beginning, and then, you know, through the scene maybe they'll drop some notes and stuff here and there, but
interesting.
Yeah, it's a really weird collaborative process that just works out really smooth.
So is he watching kind of your dailies and
oh yeah,
doing his voice work off of you, or vice versa?
I think it's a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Like, I think he likes going with the kind of the emotion and the takes that I kind of have with it. But then it's always, like I said, it's always cool going back through the show and seeing where maybe he took something in a different direction. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But for the most part, like he pretty much syncs up with what I'm kind of vibing and I'm doing.
It's amazing.
Like sometimes it's scary. It's like, whoa, wow, that sounds kind of like just exactly what I said, you know. So it works out nicely.
Yeah, it's amazing too. Once again, it's such a big production to be involved in it, and the fact that you're still, you know, getting started in the world. I mean, that's a huge step for you right out of the gate.
Oh, and you know, I'm tremendously thankful for it, man. It's just it's a good experience. It's a cool experience, and I couldn't think of a cooler show to work on. You know, it's something from my childhood that I was really into and I dug, and you know, kind of getting to make it come to life. It's one of those weird, surreal things you don't think you'll ever have an opportunity to do, and then when you get to do it, you're like, oh, cool, you know.
Well, yeah, and especially too the fact that it's 2 seasons, so you're kind of like part of the gang now.
Yeah, it's fun. And like I said, now that we kind of have the cast together, and you know, you get together for a few seasons, and you know, this recent cast was really incredible. A lot of people kind of from the improvisational comedy world, and just tremendously funny actors across the board. And I'm looking forward to people kind of seeing all the new characters that we're introducing this season, because it's a wild bunch, man. It's a lot of really funny people. Patty Guggenheim, Lisa Gilroy. You know, we have a lot of returning people too. Richard DeClerc, I mean, really out there actor who's just got a really wide range of stuff he can do. real schizophrenic with his character. It's pretty crazy.
You know, it's interesting. Like, I think one thing that we all have, anybody that gets into the acting world from wrestling, is we have really good work ethic. And I think that kind of surprises people at times, or definitely impresses them, because our world is different from Hollywood world in a lot of different ways. But do you notice that our work ethic kind of stands out?
Yeah, and I think here's where they're really surprised, is when, like, you know, there's always going to be these invariable like chaotic days that are just are going left, you know, and terrible, and you know, everybody's panicking and scrambling and trying to do and stuff. And you know, we had a few of those days, obviously, with the stunts and weather and stuff not cooperating, and you know, that's nothing kind of compared to a, you know, maybe an average Monday night when the show gets blown up right before we go on an air, you know. And I don't know how many times I've been in that situation. I don't know how many times I'll probably continue to be in that situation, you know, going forward. But, you know, those types of moments are kind of times when, you know, people from our industry really, it's like, it's very kind of, okay, yeah, cool, we'll get it done. Just, relax. We're all going to be good. It's going to work out. Don't worry, you know. And somehow, some way they get it through, and they're kind of always shocked by the poise.
It's especially too, like, last minute lines and stuff like that. Like, you know, we had to rewrite some stuff, and it's like, give me 5 minutes. Like, it's fine. Like, what? Really?
Yeah.
But we have to do that. It's just part of our DNA.
Yeah. And they will like allocate, like, we'll give you a couple hours to figure this out. And I'll be like, I'm good. Yeah. Give me 5 minutes, dude. Like, I'll get this figured out. We'll get this done, like, before everybody goes to lunch. Don't worry.
Yeah. Because that's one, like I said, I think people, don't understand, just like you mentioned, how wrestling really works at times and how last minute all of this, and then once again live programming, when you can figure that out, it's like show business boot camp. Like you learn a little bit about everything in wrestling that you can take into a huge production like Twisted Metal and use it to your advantage.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. And I mean, like, and anybody who's, you know, worked at the top of this industry, no matter where it's been, they know about how chaotic TV days can be and how a show can be completely upended. And this is all companies. Let's be very clear about it. And we've experienced it in all companies. Let's be very clear about that too. Where, and it happens more often than not. So, but like, you know, coming up in that environment in a weekly live television environment, that's the other thing too, is there's not many people who deal with a live television environment on a
right
basis anymore. And I think that too kind of lends to, you know, our strengths when we transfer over to, you know, in the acting space. And like I said, the biggest thing for me in act that I noticed is just the stamina. You know, we have to be on the ball. You got to hit your mark, got to hit your line live on television, however it is. You only get one chance. But in the acting world, you get 32, but you have to be great all 32. So it's like,
that's a good point. And keep your energy level up too, right?
Just that, having that stamina from the first performance to the last performance. I think that's the thing. The biggest difference that I noticed was the hard thing for me to adjust to. Because I blow it out in the first 5 takes, and then it's like, we got 12 more, dude. We were all over your shoulder that first one. You know, I had to learn about that. Oh, okay. You know,
yeah. And what you're saying, Joe, is that you'll do these amazing takes, but it's from behind. So it's not even for you. It's for
it's not my coverage. You know what I mean?
For your scene partner to get his coverage. Yeah. How about from a fighting standpoint? That was something that for a while I was throwing punches that were wrestling punches coming within like an inch or two. And they're like, you gotta not get so close because you're freaking out, you know, the other actor, because you're getting too close. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, that's kind of what we do.
Totally. I did have to, like, I was spooking a few people with jabs and stuff, and they're like, hey, oh, that's, you're fine though, right? I'm not touching you. But so there was like a little bit of adjustment just to that, but you know, essentially the stuntmen are like pro wrestlers' cousins, man.
Yeah.
Like, so much shared terminology, a lot of shared history, you know, especially when you start talking about like, you know, the stuntmen of old, and like you see all the crossover, and you know, a lot of it links back through Gene LaBelle too.
Yes.
I mean, he was like, he is kind of like that conduit between pro wrestling and Hollywood and stunt work. And you know, like I said, every time I talk to a stuntman and like we're working out a fight scene or we're doing stuff, it always goes way quicker than they could ever have hoped for. You know, they always allocate 4 hours for fight practice. We're done in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody's stoked, you know, he's like, you know, over here, you know, all the terminology, you know, he'll hit him here, he'll sell this, and, you know, over here, and this guy will do that. And it's just, the communication's so easy when it comes to fight scenes whenever I'm working with stunt guys. But like I said, like you said, there's still those adjustments that we have to make where it's like, okay, camera will cover things. We don't have to get so close with stuff. We don't have to, you know, and it's, you get it eventually, but it is a bit of a tweaking you need to do.
But even just learning the choreography, once again, it's something that then in our heads, you learn it very quickly.
Yeah. And that was like the biggest thing for me. Like I said, they would set aside hours for, you know, fight practice or whatever. And, you know, invariably you know, there's one time where I walked in, I think within 10 minutes, and this isn't bragging. This was just like, the guy said, is this? Yeah, cool. Sweet kick. Okay, throw that guy over here. Yeah, got it. Everybody cool. All right, get out of here. Like, you know, we all broke, and you know, that was the day. It worked for the day, so it worked out nice.
Is this something that's going to continue? Do you think, the Twisted Metal series and franchise?
I think so. I'm excited for the season. I think it's a lot of fun. Definitely a lot more special effects and budget went into the season, so you know, the explosions will definitely be maximized. But I'm looking forward. I think the fans will have a great time with it, and I could see it definitely continuing in the future.
It's amazing, man, and like I said, it's very cool to have you know, have this great success. And it was cool, as we're kind of talking about before, you left AEW to go do this. And I was going to say earlier, when we were talking about how people don't understand the live element of a show, and also the live element to where you don't even really know sometimes what you're going to be doing later on that night.
Yeah.
And I remember the one time that Tony wanted us to do something, and we didn't quite see it that way. and he kind of left the room. And I remember you and I kind of just looked at each other for a couple of seconds and went like, all right, how are we going to figure this out to do it the way he wants to do it? And we did, but even that sort of stuff, like, we're pros. So we were like, you're not just going to say no.
Yeah.
But we're like, fuck, now we have to think of a way to make this work in something that we had to basically get started in doing that night for the next week or month or whatever it was going to be.
But then again, like I think within probably 15 minutes, we had a pretty good idea of a path and an idea of what to do. And I think that's like kind of the biggest thing. I think I tell a lot of people is, it's easy to be creative when you have no constraints and no boundaries. It's that ability to, have some pretty precarious restraints or, things put on something and still be able to, produce something that people are going to like, that you're comfortable doing, that you think that is good work out there. And I think that's one of the higher level skills that a lot of young grapplers have to learn to navigate.
Yeah, it's something that you need as a top guy for sure. And also having an open mind to, like, we can make anything work.
Yeah.
Anything, like whatever it is. Sometimes it might not be what we're thinking directly, but when your boss is asking you to do something, you figure it out.
Yeah. And like, I think the big thing with anybody is, pro wrestling, I think at any level is always going to be a collaborative vision. And, you really got to respect the, all the input that matters that goes into that. And I think it's an important thing, man. And, hopefully you can get all those things to mesh and gel. And I think that usually is what makes things more entertaining for fans at home, is when you have the ability to do that.
Let's talk about your AEW run. Obviously, you're AEW World Champion. You're one of the highlights of the show, one of the top guys on the show. Let's talk about coming to AEW and how you've enjoyed it in comparison to other places. Because once again, you came in 3 years ago, and probably now you're bigger than you've ever been in a lot of ways.
I appreciate that. No, I've really enjoyed my time in AEW, and it's kind of a pattern that I've been able to enjoy in my career is like, I've always been able to join companies kind of when they're growing and they're becoming something. It started with ROH, continued with TNA, and even going into WWE, was part of helping NXT build
NXT, right.
And there's I can say this now, kind of been through that process 4 times, that like there is no more fun of a time than to be in a company when it's growing and it's becoming something, and it's kind of, it's coming into its own. And like to have that 4 times in my career, like I said, like you've been a part of that too, but a few times, you know what I mean? But to consistently kind of find myself in that situation, it's cool, man. Like, just the energy's always good. It's kept me, I like to think it's kind of kept me kind of engaged and like interested and like excited about what I do, because I get to work with like young people and new companies that are trying to like discover what they are and become what they are. And if I can help influence that and I can help shape that, that's like a super cool experience that like a lot of wrestlers will never get to have in their career, let alone 4 times,
And 4 times in a row. It's almost like swinging from a Tarzan branch. You went from Ring of Honor to TNA to NXT to AEW. It's like, it's been like a constant wave.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a really, and it took me kind of looking back at it, like it's a really unusual career trajectory. It's a really unusual situation to find yourself in repeatedly, but I'm happy that I found myself in it. I mean, like really there's kind of no better time, in my opinion, to kind of be a part of these companies than, like I said, when they're becoming what they are, and they're, they're new, they're fresh, they're young, and they're reaching their potential. And it's always a lot of fun. I'm glad I get to be a part of it and contribute to that. And it's cool to be able to leave like a piece of your body of work across a lot of different places, and hopefully like it was a positive impact everywhere that it was.
Let's talk about how you got to AEW, because once again, we started in 2019 or whatever it was, and you were in your first run in WWE or your second round?
I think second, probably. Yeah.
Second round, right.
Yeah.
So were you obviously you're aware of AEW, but was it something that you thought, oh, that's kind of interesting, or it's going to work, or that could be something I could do, or were you kind of really happy where you were at that point?
I was, because of the concussion and stuff, like I was really considering like, maybe this time to like slow it down, hang it up, do whatever. And that was just more from a health concern more than anything else. You know, like always enjoy wrestling, always dug it. But at the same time, like kind of made a promise to myself. I wouldn't, I would leave a good enough portion of my health left that I could enjoy the remainder of my life. You know? Maybe not all of it, but you know, as much of it as I could. And so really like that was my mindset at the time. And then, you know, leaving, you know, being let go from WWE, immediately getting the Twisted Metal opportunity. It was still kind of going more that way. Like, well, cool. You know, I got this great new thing. You know, maybe this is a sign, maybe this is whatever. And my agent had talked to me, asked me, he's like, you know, what's your interest in wrestling? At first I was kind of like, you know, I don't know, maybe I need a little break. You know, I haven't really had any sustained amount off from this world ever in the past 20 what odd years. And he's like, I get it. And then you know, he started having discussions with Tony just on other business. I think that was not even pro wrestling related, maybe even Jaguars related, whatever. He deals in a lot of those realms.
Yeah.
And you know, said, you know, I had a good discussion with Tony, and you know, would you willing to talk? I said, absolutely. You know, I've met Tony before. He was always a super cool guy, and said, yeah, sure, for sure. So we had a good discussion with Tony, and you know, just after talking with him, I was like, okay, cool. You know, like it was, you know, anytime that you're made to feel that welcome, you know, in very much an unsolicited manner. It wasn't like I was really pounding down the door at the time. I was, you know, really just kind of figuring out my life. And you know, he sounded really passionate about things. And you know, I know everybody over there. You know, it's like it wasn't like I was going into strange territory. I knew the majority of the people that were a part of AEW, and I knew when it came up, it was a good thing. Like, I'm sorry if you're in the industry, and you're rooting against there being more than one company. You're foolish, because it's one of our few last anchorages of power that we have in this industry. Let's be very honest about this, and very smart people. You know, like So yeah, like, and like I said, once again, it was that like, hey, this is a new company. This is something that's growing and becoming what it's going to be, and you know, hey, you get another opportunity to be a part of something like that. You know, are you interested? And when I looked back, I was like, yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in being a part of something like that.
So let's go back to WWE, because I'm thinking here just along the lines, you know, my last run in WWE is when you came in. Obviously, we had a great time with the Good Brothers and Roman, and we had our little gang, which was a blast. But then, so kind of go through this with me, because when you first came to WWE, I thought, okay, this is like a no-brainer here. This is like, you know, the epitome of what Vince likes as a heel in a lot of ways. What went down the first time to lead to you getting let go, in your opinion? Because I thought the sky was the limit there, with what you brought to the table.
I think the first one was like, I think I was done a commentary, and I just had a big contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that was just like really the gist of it. Like I had a huge contract, and they just didn't feel like I was going to give them the output for what they wanted for that money. And that's what led to it. But, you know, I didn't have much time to, you know, really mourn about that, because within a few hours, you know, I had a call from Hunter, and he's like, give me a couple days, I'll get this figured out. And I was like, all right, sure. All right, cool. Like,
so is that quick? You get let go, and then they call you and say, hold on a second.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's weird. And like, you know, I listen, I'm very, I just don't put my business out there, because like sometimes,
yeah, no, I got you.
It's just, you know, it's business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know, at the time, like, you know, by the time everybody had heard I was released, I was pretty much hired back by that time. And, you know, I didn't put out a statement or anything, because, you know, whatever. I like, listen, if I get fired somewhere, I'm not going to go ask for a pity party on like, God, I just like, you know, like dudes, people get fired all the time. You don't see them on their, you know, Instagram going, oh, I got let go today from the gas station. I hope you all, you know, like, no,
3 years ago, I got let go from the gas station.
Yeah. 3 years ago. It's been 3 years.
If you know, you know.
So yeah. Anyways, so yeah, like, you know, I was back, and you know, they definitely had some more executive minded ideas for me, but Yeah, and then the second time, I think just the company was in a lot of crazy turmoil with leadership and changing in the guard and changing in the company and everything that was going on, and I kind of got caught up in all that and was what it was. But
because you did do like, because I thought originally like this is Brock's dream opponent, you know what I mean? Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe to me seemed like a money match, and that happened maybe once or something. But like, what do you think? Like, what was the? Do you even know any idea why you didn't think you had more with that?
Just that wasn't the focus, you know.
Yeah,
I think the focus, you know, Vince had his idea where he wanted to go and where things were going, and I think you know better than anybody.
Sure.
When he's kind of dead set on something, you just once again you just, hey, do your best to kind of make the accommodation and make it happen, and you know, keep yourself viable in the process. So, and that really was what I did, you know, just all right, that's what you want, this is what we're gonna give it, and we're gonna give you what you want, but you know, I'm still gonna be me. So
yeah.
Do with that what you will. But yeah, I mean, I loved working with Brock. I mean, obviously, big physical, you know, crazy specimen of an animal slash human being, and you know, just you know, that's just those are the type of big fight environments I like to be in. I like to create, and you know, those are the events I look forward to, and those type of individuals I like to get in the ring with. And yeah, I enjoyed my time in there with them that we did get to have, and I think we had a lot of fun, and got to work with Paul Heyman and go toe to toe with him on the mic. That's always a fun experience.
Right.
Yeah, man, it was a great time, and you know, we'll see what the future holds.
What were the big differences for you when you first came to AEW from WWE that you could see?
I think like I think one of the biggest things in is just like stylistically, obviously, where the influence is more what everybody that came up from the independents had, and like it was mixing that, melding that, and kind of it's you know, and like I said, a lot of people, they say, well, this isn't what wrestling is, it should be this, but at the same time, like, you know, that melding, that hybridization of what wrestling is what keeps it evolving, what makes it what it is.
Sure.
And you know, it to me, that's kind of what I saw at AEW, and what like I was looking forward to was just kind of, hey, getting in there and adding my ingredients to that mix, and hopefully making the stew taste a little better.
How about promo wise? I mean, obviously WWE, there's a lot of writers and that sort of thing, and you're a very good promo, very well spoken guy. Did you enjoy the fact that you didn't have anyone really writing for you?
Well, I was fortunate, man. Like WWE they'd bullet point me, you know, which I liked. You know, they look, you know, that's kind of like a really a good indictment of they're trusting you if they'd hand you bullet points over read this.
Memorize this.
Yeah, but like I think you're kind of in the same vein with me. Like you know, I'd always rather have the reins. I'd rather have you give me, you know, what you would like the outcome of this promo to be, and then let me do what I do and frame it the way I want to frame it. And you know, to me, I think it's very much about engaging the viewer and telling them a story about, you know, what you plan to do, or you know, what is going to happen. It's all about getting them in the door and enticing them in. And I think you know, the promos obviously, you know, one of the biggest aspects of that we do. And you know, I think you know, understanding body language, understanding you know, how certain things emote and how certain words can be keyed on is kind of part of that art. And you know, I really wish more people studied those type of things, you know, neurolinguistics, things like that, and kind of understood, you know, how delivery works, because I think it would make for, you know, tremendously much more entertaining television.
Well, I agree, and like just kind of thinking, you know, in my mental Rolodex of some of the cool stuff you've done, even adding the uniqueness, like we said, the Pulp Fiction promos that you started doing, you know, with Hook and then with Shibata as well. It's like great idea. I'm surprised no one's ever done that before. Kind of talk about how you started utilizing that concept.
You know, I just wanted to give a showcase, and really, the awesome my work with Hook and all that stuff is just to give more of a showcase to, you know, their personalities. You know, I think every great wrestling personality is multifaceted, and they're able to communicate that kind of broadness of what their character is. And just doing the vignettes like that, I think it, kind of gave more insight into Hook's character, kind of made him more tangible, made him more likable because he felt, a bit more human. And Shibata, I mean, he's just he is a deadpan comedic genius that is tremendously underappreciated. I will say
that. Yeah, I kind of liked the comedy. That's one of my favorite things about wrestling is when you have, three guys. It's almost like taking spaghetti and throwing against the wall, and these three strips stick and the rest falls. So it's like, okay, there's Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook. Go for it. But everybody has a certain role in that, and a lot of that is because of your direction and your guidance. But like I think for all of us right now at our level, is to get the younger guys rolling in whichever way they need to do that. So the fact that now we know that Shibata is a comedic genius, we never would have known that if he wasn't working with you or with me or with the other guys he's had a chance to be in there with.
And I think that's kind of a big focus of things I'd like to do, especially in AEW. Like, now we have Will Hobbs with us. And, I think he's been a guy that we've all sang the praises of and all have, probably waxed philosophic to the world about his potential and what he could be. And, now, I'm having a chance to have him next to me out there, and, he's very much becoming that, like he's, and the crowd's resonating with it. And I think he's feeling that, and he's starting to understand, his capabilities and what he's able to do. And it's cool to be around. And that when kind of the switch turns in their head, they start to get it. And just that it's such a fun thing to be around, because it's like, you're seeing them, after they had their first kiss for the first time or something, come around the corner, like floating, like, wow, that was amazing. And it is very much that. So it's pretty cool.
The one I always guess, I can't believe how easy it is.
Yeah, it's always
once they get that, like, wow, I didn't have to do anything. And it's like, yes,
they just love me out there. I don't know what to do.
No, and then once again, did you ever have anybody that did that for you over the years that kind of helped you along your way?
Regal.
Oh,
Regal.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I will say this. I was a cocky 20-year-old who thought I understood everything about the business. And this was coming like from my, show business background. Like, and I understood a lot about the business, but I didn't understand everything about the business.
And this is your show business background of being kind of like, well, you're like a fire
Polynesian dancing.
Polynesian dancer.
With my and just being in the ring with him for the first time. And, a guy actually going, we're going to call it out there.
Wow.
And having to be on and alert and like listening and reacting. And, you can't be, and just being in the ring with something that great and having it be awesome, after it's all said and done. Because this guy pretty much took you by the wrist in your 2 years of wrestling and guided you through, a fantastic match. It made me realize, wow, first off, I know a fraction of what I think I know.
Yeah.
And there's so much more nuance, and there's so much more I don't know that I need to start learning immediately. And that was like the light for me, because it was just the way he manipulated that crowd that night. Now he just got everybody to hate him, even though he was the big star and I was the local nobody. And somehow, some way, he got them to cheer me and just sing just how put the puppet strings on people and just get everything out of them. It was a eye-opening like epiphany for me.
Where was that?
In I want to say Buena Park. No.
But like what
like Orange, California, like around where I live, like UPW days. He came down when it was kind of a developmental deal, and did a one-off with me, just to show up at the show and make an appearance. So rare opportunity, but it was one that kind of changed my wrestling life.
So we know a lot about your early years in Ring of Honor and just how influential that whole scene was and all the great guys that came out of there. What kind of were you with TNA right from the start? Did you get hired?
No. I was with ROH, and I only got with TNA probably, I want to say like in their third or fourth maybe year in existence. Not too sure about that, but they had been going for a bit, and I had turned down a few offers from them initially, just because they weren't feasible, like like they're just silly, and Ring of Honor was doing awesome at the time, and I was making a living, and which wasn't something that indie wrestlers didn't do at that time. It was crazy. So I wasn't going to eschew them just to go to TNA because it was, on a televised station or whatever. This is where I make my living. Why would I go there if you're just going to not pay me or give me some stupid gimmick, whatever reason. So, but then, yeah, I eventually ended up going there and, say around 03, 04, something like that. And, got started there and had a blast.
Let's talk about your classic feud with Kurt Angle, because once again, I was a fan of TNA when they started, just for the same reason that we just spoke about. Anytime there's another company, it's great for the business, it's great for the boys. You came out of the gate. I didn't know much about you. I loved this guy. And then here comes Kurt Angle. And I think at the time, probably some of the best matches that were happening in the world were Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah. And it was, and I think it was kind of a perfect format in the sense that, like, Kurt had a lot to prove. And, determined Kurt is a very, hard thing to get in the way of. Like, he was gonna have a good match with me, whether I was a corpse or alive. He was
whether he was a corpse.
It didn't matter. A good match gonna happen, and Kurt was gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And like, he very much had that energy when he came in too, man. He was like all psyched up and ready to rock and roll, man. It's gonna be awesome, right? And I'm like, yeah, cool, brother. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And it could show it because, like I said, he headbutted me the first time, just split me open. I'm like, all right, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Right.
The brother's into it, right? So yeah, I mean, it made it very easy for me because, like I said, Kurt in and of itself is an amazing wrestler, but a motivated Kurt,
right.
I mean, you just stay out of his way and let him do what he does because, I mean, he's that good.
Well, it was a huge deal to have the Kurt Angle show up in TNA. I still remember the first time. I don't know if his head turned around and he was like, "It's true," whatever the hell he said. You're like, it was a game changer for that time frame.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it was a big thing for us. I mean, and leading into the Spike TV and all that stuff. I mean, it was a massive get. And I mean, and Kurt, oddly enough, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, I think spent the majority of his career in TNA.
Yeah.
And man, what a run in there. There wasn't a time he wasn't awesome during his time there. So, I mean, what a get. I mean, that's a guy that he definitely made a difference when he showed up.
What do you think the peak of TNA was?
I mean, that's tough to say. I mean, I'll always say it's probably our era when we were there.
Sure, right.
Spike and maybe around 05 or something. But once again, I haven't kept up, so maybe they've had higher highs since. But they're still going. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to give them a lot of credit. Like, they've managed to stay going in some incarnation, and there's still a lot of tremendous wrestlers there. So it's good to see that it's still getting on and doing what it can do.
So we start to wind down. You've got a great character on AEW, like we mentioned, the Pulp Fiction promos, and kind of a very cool, calm, cool, and collected, but I'll rip your fucking nose off. Let's talk about one of the best spots of the modern era of you just wandering away when someone goes up top for for a crossbody or something. Like, it's so great. And the funny thing is, I know guys that would do that as a shoot back in the day to be an asshole.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those guys. So it started out as an asshole. Like, So, I mean, the deal. You end up working the same people, especially house shows or if you're just, working a lot of spot shows, the same people. Like, I'd always work Chris Daniels, or I'd always work AJ or something like that. And to the point where it's like, it's almost insulting if I ask them anything they want to do in the match. What we're gonna do, damn. You know what I mean? It's just it's to that point. So it started out as a gag where, like, every so often, I'd just be like, hey, give me the elbow crossbody or something, something like that. And then they go for the crossbody and walk away like an asshole. And like, Chris Daniels was the best. And I probably did it to him the most, simply because he would always sell, like, in midair when he did it, like, you son of a bitch, god damn it. And just, it would pop the crowd and me at the same time. And it started out as a rib, but then guys started requesting it because they just like it, and I think it gets requested by people more than I want to actually do it now. It's just like, everybody's got an idea how to riff on it. So it started as a rib, but now I guess it's a thing. So, here we go.
When Tony first brought you into AEW too, though, it was specifically for Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Yeah. Which that's nothing new. I mean, I'm always brought in specifically for a reason. And then
It leads to other things, right?
yeah. I mean, just it's funny. Some people are like, oh, wouldn't you be insulted by now? I'm like, I'm not like I'm not, dude. Like, whatever. Like, if I felt it was gonna go any other way, I would feel some type of way. But no, it's not. I'm gonna come in. You're gonna realize I need you everywhere, and I will be everywhere. Yeah,
and that's always the way. Once again, when you know what you can do, it's like, yeah, sure, all right, whatever,
great, yeah,
I'll come in and do it. But it's also a great, talk about old school brother. Your first night of Ring of Honor. I remember, didn't you miss flights and have to train?
No, they canceled like everything out of Florida because there was a hurricane coming in. Oh, so it was like everything on the West Coast was canceled. So I had to drive to Crystal something Lake, Florida, or like literally it's in the middle of the state, and it's awesome, man. I pull up to this Tony sends his jet to this airstrip that's in the middle of nowhere, and I pull up. There's literally an old man in a rocking chair, like sitting out front, like. This, I mean, if he had like a stalk of wheat in his mouth, it would have been just, and I walk up and I'm like, hey man, there's a jet coming in to pick me up. He goes, huh, what time? I said, well, it's supposed to be here about 6 o'clock. He goes, we close at 5:30. I go, well, I mean, there's going to be a jet on your runway. I would tell you, he goes, well, all right. And he got up, walked in the office, slowly went over there, got like a luggage cart. I said, it's just me. It's my luggage. He goes, I guess you don't need the cart. Put the cart back. Jet landed. I jumped on the flight, took off, made it to the place. But then I flew back to Tampa, but then I had to drive back to this place to get my car, which I left there. Mm-hmm. And, it's 3 hours inland to Florida. I finally get there, get out. He's sitting on the rocking chair again in the afternoon. He's like, Captain Eye on your car. So I appreciate that. It's like, nice one. I think I'm gonna get me one. I'm like, all right, man, appreciate you, brother. And got my stuff and bounced. But yeah, it was a chore getting me there. It took a private jet and dodging a hurricane, but I made my ROH debut, so I guess it's all worth it.
If people only knew, right?
Yeah.
Last few things, Joe. I mean, you've done a lot of great stuff. Is there still some people in AEW? I'm sure there's a lot that you haven't worked yet that you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a laundry list, man. I mean, Hangman, Osprey,
right,
Okada, Kenny.
Yeah, have you ever worked with Kenny? I was thinking about that
once on an indie a million years ago. Probably when he was starting, but not since. I mean, there's a laundry list, and I think there's more matchups to be had than not had. So it's quite a large field.
Last two questions. What's your favorite scene that you've done in Twisted Metal? Is there a certain episode or scene that stands out for you and Sweet Tooth?
It's a pretty good one. Kind of a breakfast scene with me and Mr. Grimm that kind of goes south. Is pretty funny. And I mean, the casino scene, singing the thong song with Anthony Mackie, always a very treasured moment for me. Getting to stalk Captain America around a casino and then sing the thong song with him.
Yeah, I thought that was good too, because you do a little bit of a dance as well.
Oh yeah, you have to get into it, man. The thong song deserves movement.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you can't just sing the thong song and stand there.
No. Yeah, what kind of rube does that? What kind of psychopath does that?
And last question for you, man. Is there a favorite match of yours that stands out for you, or a few of them at least? I'm sure you've had so many.
Yeah, a ton. I mean, I think I liken always back to the 3-way with AJ and Chris, but that's only because I got to put on a great match with two guys who I've come up in the business with and spent probably the most time with. So it's always a great thing.
It's amazing too that you and AJ kind of reached your biggest heights when you were kind of in the elder statesman era of your career. Not quite, but later on.
Oh yeah, sure. Dude. Oh no, dude. Yeah, we're totally old and sexy and fucking awesome. It works out great, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Not necessarily in that order.
All you young nerds with your youth and vitality, you don't know what you're missing, kid. You get yourself some arthritis. Nice little smoker's cough.
broken blood veins in your nose. From
Some broken. If you sleep without any apnea because of damage to your sinus cavity, I don't want. What are you doing with your life? With your easy breathing.
Dude, it's great talking to you, man, and congratulations on Twisted Metal and all your success. And I look forward to getting in there with you one of these days and settling our differences finally.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. It was always great to be here. Truce over. Go fuck yourself.
Thanks, man.